Greetings, everyone. This is your guy playing the year. Um, I hope this broadcast finds you well. Um, I was thinking, and one should think at least 3 times a day, deeply preferentially. Put some thought into what you're thinking about. And some. I recently had a bit of a debate, and in this debate, it was involved particular policies. It was in reference to policies being passed by the current president, and I guess in the effort in which the question was posed was to I guess to make some comparison the previous administration, or I guess maybe that person's chosen political party, their leader policy versus the current leader's policies. And then underneath that person's post, the question was asked, how has the current president's policies benefited you? I guess individually. I don't know whether, it could be bought out to what did this person mean. Just when you say benefit me, do you mean like benefit folks that are like me, or should it be something that should be tied directly to my address? But um, I thought about it, and I made I had stated about the immigration and what else? No, really, I just pretty much put down the immigration, and from that point. I thought that was a good point in regards to. I live in Chicago, a sanctuary city. I seen where a lot of the taxpayer funds and I guess funds that could be utilized for the citizens of Chicago were being funneled toward the catering and the comfort and the accommodation of those who had been bussed in from Texas due to the fact that wherever they came from in Texas, that is not a Texas itself is not a sanctuary state, and I don't believe that they have any sanctuary cities. So I've seen personally how the masses of immigrants coming into Chicago was affecting it. Well, Cook County, because I live in the suburbs. I ain't, you got to be specific when you talk about Chicago, because you might say I'm from Chicago. What part? Maywood. That ain't Chicago. Blah blah blah. But don't let me get too distracted off what I'm talking about. I've seen how the influx of immigrants was affecting, if not only the social aspect, but definitely the economic aspect, but the social aspect, the social aspect as well, because you had various types of gangs, the Trendy Agua, and they say the MS-13, and of course the franchise gangs that are in Chicago. They gotten to the point now where they call it what they call them, the VDs, the Venezuelan disciples, I guess you say. But don't let me get too far off what I'm on. Um, we talking about policy. I said the immigration policy, but of course, if you go back to the first administration, they were talking about how he signed permanent funding for the HBCUs, and I'd also had really one of the policies that impressed me was when he had done the First Step Act that had went back and I guess went back and resentenced those who had been rounded up underneath, I guess the the guidelines of the I gotta sneeze. Pardon me, people. Underneath the guidelines of the '94 crime bill, where they had put out certain sentences for hard rock cocaine, which is crack, and soft cocaine, which I guess is powder, whatever. And that First Step Act, what it done was it reduced the sentences of those who were locked up underneath the draconian sentences underneath that came underneath that crime bill passed by Bill Clinton and written, admittedly by the previous president, Joe Biden. That's another one of his policies. But when he was leaving out, I think it was in like the last few months he was in there. He was working on a plan to lower the cost of insulin, and of course he lost. It didn't go all the way through, but we find out that Joe Biden, he had came out and said that he had lowered the cost of insulin, blah blah blah, and of course those who the Democratic folks, they said that he did it. But when I remarked that, Trump had started, oh, you just a Trump fan. But no. No, I'm just, pardon me, y'all. Man, the windows is open. And of course, it's that time of the year. I get allergies sometimes. Along with dust allergies. But I digress. Let me continue. Damn, I wasn't even being bothered at all until I started this video. I was just sitting here just as calm. Now my eyes is watering and shit. But yeah, we talking about policy. But then then nobody could know particular say. I couldn't particularly argue. I wasn't trying to argue with them folks about it because I knew when I know something, I'm going to tell you I know it and I'm going to stand on it. And you could try to argue back with me about it as long as you want to, but it is what it is. Because I do my research. And I found this out. President Donald Trump announced his action to lower prescription drug prices. Now, one of the points, the reason that I believe that this particular friend that made that post was because during the election, I'm not a Democrat or Republican. During the election, I would tease them about policy because Trump was steadily dropping policies, and we would always try to figure out, well, what is Kamala Harris going to do? A loan, I guess something about the home buyer shit or whatever. Everybody broke. The interest rates are high. Who needs a heads, whatever that was, a tax credit to buy a home? I guess it might be beneficial to someone who's buying a whole bunch of real estate, maybe, But again, I digress. Let's stick to what we own here. Lowering prescription drug prices. Today, Donald J. Trump signed an executive order to expand on the historic effort of his first term to lower prescription drug prices. The order directs the Department of Health and Human Services to take steps to significantly reduce drug prices for American patients. It delivers lower drug prices for Medicare and the seniors who rely on it by. Now, right here. This is not a policy that is specifically and solely dedicated and aimed at African American, Black Americans. It's a policy that's aimed at all Americans, but it is, of course, that a lot of our people, a lot of my mama get Medicare. A lot of my relatives, I don't get Medicare. I got a job, so I'm working. But even people get Medicare that we know. It delivers lower drug prices for Medicare and the seniors who rely on it by improving the Medicare drug pricing negotiation program in order to eclipse the 22% in savings achieved in the program's first year. Now, it's saying, I guess this is saying that it's going to reduce the price by 22% already. The savings, it's going to save 22% the first year. But what I guess this there's going to be a improved drug pricing negotiation program that's going to get the prices even lower, the acquisition prices for the drugs even lower, so that 22% savings will increase by, the savings will be bigger because the drug prices will be lower. Aligning Medicare payment for certain prescription drugs with the cost by which hospitals actually acquire them, which can be 35% lower than what the government currently pays. Imagine, because one of the things that, I hear during campaigns, the seniors, people can't afford their medication. They got to skip paying a bill, this, that, and the third. They got to ration out their medication. 35% than what the government currently pays. Now, the government buys in bulk. Can you imagine the capitalistic? I mean, I'm not saying anything wrong. It's cool to be capitalistic. You want to be able to earn. But then you get to a point where you're being greedy and exploitative. 35% lower than what the government currently pays. Standardizing Medicare payments for prescription drugs such as cancer treatment, regardless of where the patient receives care, which can lower prices as much as 60%. Medicare payments for prescription drugs as cancer treatments, regardless of where the patient receives care, which can lower prices by as much as 60%. It provides massive discounts to low-income patients for life, saving medications. Pardon me, I just read that. It provides massive discounts to low-income patients. For life-saving medication. Insulin prices for low-income patients and the uninsured will be lowered to as low as 3 cents, plus a small administrative fee. Injectable epinephrine for low-income patients and the uninsured will be as low as $15, plus a small administrative fee. Now, I heard that epinephrine costs a lot of money. I don't know how much that small administration fee is going to be, but I'm sure it'll be cheaper than what's currently being charged for epinephrine. This order helps states reduce drug prices by facilitating importation programs that could save states millions in prescription drug costs. What that means is that, okay, if your state that services you and underneath your Medicare program, they buy mass amount of drugs that the service the patients. Them individual states will be able to negotiate a rate in which to purchase drugs, but they can purchase them internationally. Where, people go to Mexico to buy low cost medication. People can go to Canada to buy low cost medication. Or, maybe somewhere over, even further over. They say facilitating importation programs. Building all programs to help states get much better deals on expensive sickle cell medications and Medicaid than the statutorily required 23.1% discount. Much better deals. Now, sickle cell. I believe there's one particular section of the population that suffers from sickle cell. Bringing radical transparency and competition to prescription drug markets. President Trump is dedicated to creating a transparent, competitive, and fair prescription drug market for American consumers. President Trump has already taken numerous actions to end the practice of large corporations profiting by keeping healthcare prices and business practices hidden from Americans. The order increases the availability of generics and biosimilars, which can be as much as 80% cheaper than the brand alternatives. The order builds off that critical work and reevaluates the role of middlemen by improving disclosure of fees that pharmaceutical benefit managers pay to brokers for steering employers to utilize their services. Direct administration to develop reforms to promote a more competitive, transparent, efficient, and resilient prescription drug value chain. By addressing the influence of middlemen and promoting open competition, President Trump's actions aim to create a fair prescription drug market that lowers costs and ensures accountability across the healthcare system. Now you hear people, he's a dictator. Now, mind you, I've never voted for Donald Trump. I didn't vote for Biden. I didn't vote for Obama the second time. I didn't vote for Hillary. I got to see something that's tangible, man. Something that, that I can go to and put my finger on. Now, student loan debt forgiveness, old boy Palmer said, I didn't have any concern with that. I wasn't concerned with that. But this is not a go back and forth. What I'm saying is that if I look at a politician comes to me as an individual person. And and I know how politics has served my people in all the years I've lived on this earth. It makes sense for me to ask specifically and directly to the point, eye to eye, knee to knee, to this politician. What exactly should I expect for you to constructively and tangibly do to improve the situations and circumstances of people like myself within my community? That's so in my mind, whoever's running, I'm looking at the policies. What can you do for what's in it for me? What's in it for us? This some of this stuff sounds like, as unhealthy as some African American black folks are. This definitely sounds like something that will benefit you. I don't know, the last president. I ain't gonna go there with that mess. Let's continue. Putting American patients first once again. President Trump is delivering on his promise to once again put American patients first by building off of the historic efforts of his first term to lower prescription drug prices. See, I mentioned that before. I didn't know that this was included here. In his first term, President Trump took numerous actions that delivered real results for real patients. Well, for patients, pardon me. The Food and Drug Administration sped up development of lower-cost generic medicines and biosimilars, as well as created a pathway for states to import lower-cost drugs from Canada. So, Biden built, I guess he of course he wanted to take claim of it. He built on that. I think the quote was the information I heard was like 15 medications. With this new thing that Trump got going on, it's going to be more medications than 15. It'll be a broader amount of medications, lower cost generic medications. Government mandated discounts were passed through to patients instead of being retained by middlemen. So, I don't know what that means for the pharmaceutical sales industry. From my understanding, that industry is very lucrative. You selling legal dope. You're a legal dope pusher. But so, if it's cutting out the middleman, who is the middle person? If you can go as far as like you might have no, I can't even say that because whoever makes the drugs for the pharmaceutical companies probably it's the pharmaceutical company itself. I was thinking like in regards to like a Walmart situation where okay they might buy the peaches from here, the green bell peppers from here, like like the pharmaceutical companies buy the medications from certain places or certain independent producers. But I don't want to complicate this too much. Price transparency rules were developed to allow patients, doctors, and employers to see the actual cost of prescription drugs. Insulin copays were capped for Medicare beneficiaries. Unsurprisingly, the Biden-Harris administration let many of these priorities languish while failing to even achieve the savings projected from the new Medicare prescription drug negotiation program. President Trump will not stand for inaction, and his administration is working rapidly to lower the cost of prescription drugs for Americans. Now, I just read this information. This ain't got nothing to do with me loving now politician and now political party. This is information that will help you. Knowledge is power. That's what I heard. And then you think about this. Just this week, I think it might have been this week, you hear about these luxury items, these luxury clothing items, purses and things like that. You find out that they cost a sliver of a fraction of what they are being sold for, to make than what they're being sold for. Basically, now the folks who are like I'm a black person. And once upon a time, It ain't none of you who got the Louis bags and don't have one of them big old Louis trunks. You got the Gucci loafers on, them Gucci shirts and stuff. And then of course, I didn't cop my share of knockoffs of stuff, I guess, but I bought knockoff Iceberg, knockoff Averex. I digress. The stuff costs more if you buy the retail than if you bought it like on the bootleg price. Come to find out, the bootleg price is the same price you really should have been paying for the luxury shit. So what it looks like now is that basically, oh, you're just wearing clothes, just like the rest of us who might have paid $20 for a sweatshirt. Your sweatshirt costs $10 to make and really should have been sold to you for $20. It just got some form of foreign branding on it, European brand on it. So you got that veil that's pulled away now. The veil that is the prescription drug price thing. Like people go, like I said, the politicians can't come out and they say that such and such a old granny can't get her blood pressure medication because she got to worry about whether or not her lights stay on. Come on, man. So yeah, I just wanted to drop that on y'all, man. And it ain't too much too long, but well, yeah, one more last parting word. And I think I may have to do something about on this one too. How if you go and look at COVID.gov, the COVID site, and where it's been revealed, we were lied to. I won't even go out far. We seemed like some of us who were trying to figure out what COVID was doing and how to treat it and things like that. We were trying to position ideas and have discussions on it online, and we find out that there was a concentrated effort to keep our voices silenced. Then it speaks on the good Dr. Fauci and how some of his methods to mitigate the spread of COVID were made up on the fly. And I guess in the aftermath of him getting a blanketed pardon. But yeah, y'all, this is all I got for y'all, man. This looks like good news to me. I guess in the future, when I get on Medicare, I guess if Medicare is still around, they say you're going to shut down Medicare. But, it's good news for some. It's good news for mom and them, auntie and them, uncle, I think uncle and them. So, peace and love, man. I'll get with y'all on the next one.